Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the motion by the Honorable Faith Gitao on the expansion of major roads in the country to dual carriages. Honorable Speaker, the road issue or the road matter is actually a thorn in the flesh of many Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. That when you move around the world, those of us who have had the privilege to travel across the world, you'll agree with me that we are behind schedule in terms of the road network as a country, Honorable Speaker. But of importance, Honorable Speaker, is the proposal or the motion by the Honorable Faith Gitao that seeks, or rather that brings us to the attention of everybody, Honorable Speaker, about the expansion of these major roads. Honorable Speaker, when you look, or if you've had an opportunity to travel or to make your way or to drive or whichever way from Nairobi all the way to Nakuru, then all the way to Kericho, all through to that route, Honorable Speaker, you'll agree with me that over the weekends, that route is extremely busy. Very, very busy. Because unlike the traditional holiday places that have been said before, like Mombasa and, the South Coast, the North Coast and all those places, other Kenyans opt, Honorable Speaker, to drive from Nairobi to Naivasha for what nowadays they call staycation or something, or just a little bit of some holiday, because that is another area that has become a common holiday destination, Honorable Speaker, especially for those who are not able to raise enough money, Honorable Speaker, and even not even enough money. There are very, very good hotels, Honorable Speaker, nowadays in Nakuru, Naivasha area, Honorable Speaker, that people go for holidays, Honorable Speaker. But unfortunately, there is a challenge. You drive all the way from Nairobi, you get to Westlands, but past Limuru, Honorable Speaker, you then now start finding a challenge or getting a challenge of the road network because of so many vehicles, Honorable Speaker, on the way. Because there are so many vehicles on the way in that route. If there is something that we need to think of as a country, is expanding such highways, Honorable Speaker. The roads that go all the way to Malava, the roads that pass through, you go, Honorable Speaker, from Sotik to Kaplong. It's like a road, Honorable Speaker, that was made when the population was hardly, 2 million people in this country or 3 million people in this country. It is really not a road that people should be talking about. And I see Honorable Osoro looking at me because that is his home. And he knows very well that there is a challenge between Sotik, Keroka, Kisii, and going all the way, Honorable Speaker, to Tsirare. It's really, really a big challenge, Honorable Speaker. And there are so many vehicles on the road. Those roads, the implementers, or rather the people who came up with that structure of such roads, Honorable Speaker, did not envision a time when we will be densely populated as we are and with so many people on the road. And that is why this motion is coming in timely. Look at Mombasa, Honorable Speaker. Not everybody is able to afford a flight to Mombasa. That immediately you get to Makutano at the junction of Machakos towards Mombasa, Honorable Speaker, the road becomes slimmer, and slimmer. And because it was actually made, it was constructed over 30 or 40 years ago, or even 50 years ago, and not really well maintained. Sometimes, of course, there are potholes on the road. Some irregular bumps have been erected by people because of the accidents that are occur, Honorable Speaker. And we even squeeze ourselves with the trailers when you're driving in those roads. I mean, really, it is about time that we start having this discussion on how we can be able to expand these roads to have every major road as a dual carriage, Honorable Speaker. But even as we get to that, then we then need to sit down and ask ourselves this question. Is it then possible for this country, the country's budget, to meet those needs? Is it possible that within the budget that we have, Honorable Speaker, that we have all those roads, made under dual carriage, Honorable Speaker? What then, when you ask yourself this question, then it brings up for this answer that it's about time we also start thinking on how we can engage investors on such structures under the PPP terms. That if the government is not able to construct these roads because of the taxes, the insufficient, budget that we have, Honorable Speaker, and of course the several needs, then it's about time that we start embracing the question of the private-public partnerships across the country. It is the question of time. It is about time that you start thinking about that right. That if you are doing a road towards Malava from Nairobi, then have an investor construct an 8-lane structure, 8-lane carriage on one side, and 8-lane carriage on the other side, with the exclusion of a free one. Then you do tolling so that you are able to recover your money. So you do 8. If you want to go express to Malava, use the dual carriage. If you do not want to pay for through the toll station, then just a similar thing that happens, of course, Honorable Speaker, to the expressway. Then you are left with that small, slender road, the old one, so that you can use and remain on traffic as you want. So it's about time that we start telling Kenyans and embracing, even as leaders, the question of the PPP. Because it is not tenable through our budget. If we will be waiting for us, for the exchequer to fund the road, to make the road that way, like Thika Superhighway, so that we can have those dual carriages all through the country, it will not be possible. We want to urge Kenyans to start embracing the private-public partnerships. A similar thing that happened, a similar one like the expressway, it's optional for you to get through the expressway to the JKIA, or you use the underpass and go, it's free, and then go to JKIA. The difference is that one will save time, the other one will pay at a cost. So those are the things that we need to embrace, because it is timely. Looking at the city planning, looking at the country's planning, we are a little bit behind. I was engaging one of the colleagues, Honorable Speaker, when we visited Zambia the other day. You will notice, Honorable Speaker, that in Lusaka, even the city planning itself has envisioned a time where the country will have a population of 50 million or 60 million, because currently Zambia, although it's double in our size, Honorable Speaker, in terms of the landmass, their population is barely 20 million people. But looking at the city planning, the spaces they've left for those who cycle, the spaces they've left for those people who like walking along the road is very safe. But look at our country, Honorable Speaker. The cyclists, the people, the cyclists are riding their motorbikes and their bicycles just besides the vehicles, and besides those people who are doing jogging every day, and besides, of course, trailers, quite risky. And that's why, Honorable Speaker, we've got so many cases of hit and run. And I can tell you, as a legal practitioner, when I started practicing law, Honorable Speaker, the very first thing I started doing, Honorable Speaker, is going through the morgues, Honorable Speaker, for what we call ambulance chasing. And that's what most people who start practicing do whenever because it is common. People are dying on the road, Honorable Speaker, through hit and run. People are hit daily. And because of the nature of our laws, nowadays when you get a person hit by the roadside, Honorable Speaker, you can hardly stop and pick him, because when you take, even if he's, has some little pass left for him to be saved, you will fear, because when you take them to the hospital, you are asked, okay, so are you the one that hit this person? And the police will be after you. And that is why we are turning to be a country of each person for himself and God for us all. It's quite unfortunate. But generally, Honorable Speaker, it is about time that we start thinking through the PPPs. We start looking for the investors, viable and quality investors, to help us do the dual carriages. They toll to recover their money, but still, we leave that slender one, we leave that road, that particular one, to be free of charge, so that you have an option to either toll, use through the toll station and pay, or pass through the normal one. So with that, Honorable Speaker, and this one should actually go deep into the villages, so that it can actually open up the economic channels of this country. With those very many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I am very impressed by the Honorable Faith Gitau's motion, and I suggest that it just doesn't end in these structures of motion. We need to think through the public-private partnership, Honorable Speaker, in terms of, for us to engage, for us to be able to achieve this, because it is not possible to do this through the exchequer. I beg to support, Honorable Speaker, and I thank you very much.
Before we proceed, honorable members, I would like to welcome students seated in the public gallery this morning.